Welcome to a behind the scenes look of bold predictions. This is a bit new that I'm doing today, but don't worry, we're still going to do kind of a full video of bold predictions. But I thought I'd take you behind my world of kind of producing one of these episodes and show you what my process is like doing it all on my own. So I have my own YouTube channel, obviously, in which I post videos and upload videos based on the creative of what I want to do for the week. So I have my main episodes, which is more so my official podcast that I do, which is, main episodes dealing around the topics happening in the sports world. I haven't been quite as good as uploading main episodes and doing that podcast form. I don't know. I've just been struggling kind of with the creative behind it, trying to think of episodes that I want to do while also still sticking with the algorithm that is the sports media of it all and kind of looking into what that industry, how that industry is growing and developing day by day and week by week. So that's why I've been struggling with main episodes. Obviously, I have my other segments on my channel, such as, life advice, which I haven't done in quite a while as well. I want to be better at that. I had coffee toss with which is more kind of the personal side of me and sharing stories related to that. Haven't been doing quite a good job of doing those as well, but I'm trying to go back into it and trying to develop my channel into what I want it to look like. And then obviously, we have the main episodes, we have the bold prediction segment, which I've been doing season 2 with. And there's probably other videos that I have missed that I've been trying to do segments on as well. I know March Madness is mostly like the painting stuff that I do when I just talk about basketball and all of that. But it's also all done by me. So I'm the one when I'm doing main episodes, I'm the one writing out how I want the segments to go on the podcast, all the main points that I want to hit, all the stuff that I want to talk about. So I'm doing the research on the web. I'm writing it out so it flows fluidly and I don't have, break stopping points, which I'm trying to think of stuff. It's all laid out for me. Same with life advice. I do try to make outline of the things that I want to talk about and follow that. Coffee talks is more kind of an improv thing, but I still have a basic incentive of what I want to cover. And that is what it's also like with Bull Predictions. Bull Predictions is probably the easiest segment for me to produce because it's NFL predictions. All I have to do is just go online and look at what the games are for the week and go based off of that. So it might be easy for a lot of people, but when I'm producing it, I'm also looking at records from previous weeks. I'm also looking at the teams that they have played before, which kind of helps me come to a conclusion of what teams that I want to pick for my predictions. So we're going to take a look at that right now. I'm going to share my screen here, share screen. And then we're going to go to Google here on Safari. I already have Google pulled up. That's step number 1. So all I have to do for that is type in NFL week. I believe it's week 9, which is crazy because it's the halfway point of the NFL season. And there we go. NFL week 9 out of 18, the halfway point. And there we go. I just came up with my title for what this week's episode is going to be. It's going to be the halfway point of the NFL season, bold predictions. So I'm also coming up with all of these titles on my own too. So I look at what games are being played for the week, which is just a quick Google search, as you can see right here. I am also thinking of titles. I'm thinking of kind of thumbnails, which I take videos by myself and then kind of do the thumbnail editing on Canva, which is an easy way for me to go. I would do it on Photoshop, but I don't have Photoshop on my computer, and that's also a lot of tools. Maybe if I get a new computer and I have Photoshop available, I'm not going to do more advanced editing thumbnails and editing videos in that regard. But for now, we're going to stick with Canva here. So we have games pulled up, week 9 out of 18. I looked at all of these games here from Thursday Night Football tonight, which is Ravens and Dolphins on Amazon Prime. And then all the way to Monday Night Football on November 3rd, which is Cardinals and Cowboys. And of course, Sunday Night Football, Seahawks and Commanders. So the next step here is just to go to folder. I like to type in here my bold predictions, which there you go, comes right up. I keep a spreadsheet here, season 2, and I go from week 1 all the way to week 8. I missed last week here. I didn't miss last week, but I still have to highlight some of the games that I got right here. So all the teams that my predictions were right, I will bold them. So here we got Chiefs right. They won. I know the Colts won. Those are bold. Broncos won. That goes in bold as well. I believe the Ravens did win. This was not a good week for me, so I'm not really happy about that. But it is what it is. Eagles, I believe, won too. And then I think the Bucks won as well. Again, I can always go back and make sure that they line up with what I chose for them, which is an easy search like that. So yeah, I got the Ravens right. That was my boldest prediction of the week here. So that the Dolphins beat the Falcons, the Ravens won. I know the Bills won. I don't know how the Bills won, but they did. Well, actually, what did I say? I don't know how the I don't know how the Falcons won, but I don't know how the Dolphins won, but they did. I'm struggling with my words today. That's what I meant to say. I don't know how the Dolphins managed to win, but they sure did. And then all the rest looked good here. So I guess I didn't do as bad as I thought I did. Oh, good for me. Next up, after I do those, then I look at my overall record for the week, which we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. My record was 9-4. A lot of teams had bye weeks for the last week, so that also kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, a lot of teams were on bye week, so that also kind of puts a dent in there. But we review that. That's a look inside me. Then we move on to week 9. So I'll talk about my record and my actual segment here. And then it's time just to start inserting teams. So we start with Thursday Night Football, which I do like that. It was Ravens versus Dolphins, or Dolphins versus Ravens. I forget what order it went in. Let's go back and see. Yep, Ravens versus Dolphins. So I'll put that and insert a line like this. And then we just go back to putting teams in. So we have 49ers, Giants, Chargers, and Titans. Oh boy, what was the other team again? See, I already forgot. Chargers versus Titans. And then we had Lions and Vikings, I believe. Yep, Vikings versus Lions, Falcons versus Patriots. Patriots here. And then we just go, once again, just go down the line. Colts, Steelers, Broncos, Texans. If I can spell, Steelers, Broncos versus Texans. Then Bears, Bengals, Panthers, Packers. Panthers, Packers. There we go. Then Saints, Rams, Jaguars, Raiders. Saints, Rams, Jags, versus Raiders. And then it was the Chiefs versus another Bills, which, ooh, this should be a good game. I'm excited for this one. And then we have Sunday night football here, and then Monday night football, which I already know Monday night football is Cowboys versus, or Cardinals versus Cowboys. They're at home. And then I forgot who Sunday night football was. It was Seahawks Commanders. I feel like the Commanders are also kind of getting a little bit screwed over. Well, not screwed over, but they just came off of Monday Night Football, and now they have Sunday Night Football on the big stage. But we'll review that later on. But anyways, so then we have Thursday Night Football all the way to Monday Night Football. Had those laid out for Week 9. That's what I also do. And now it's time to pick my predictions. Some people assume that I just go based off of a random team, and that is sometimes true. Last week I kind of did that. I made my picks in a hurry. But for this week, since I'm taking you behind the scenes look of how I produce stuff, I do look at overall records here. So Ravens and Dolphins are both won 2 games each. I also look to see who they have played and what their opponents have looked like. So this is preseason. So I can see here that the Ravens have played the Bills. They've played the Browns, Lions, Chiefs, Texans, Rams, and the Bears. So they've had a balanced look of teams here. So I can't knock them down too much. When I look at the Dolphins, however, and the teams that they've played, they have played the Colts, which the Colts have been on an unbelievable run so far. They've played the Patriots, Bills, the Jets, the Panthers, the Chargers, the Browns, and now the Falcons. So I think it's a balanced mix here. I will say I think the Ravens have played of some harder teams here compared to the Dolphins. And I know with Lamar Jackson out and with Tua not playing his best football recently, that gives me an incentive to go with the Ravens for Thursday night football because I do believe that they will get back on track here. And I don't know much, I don't have much trust in the Dolphins at this moment in time. So there's that. Then we go to the 49ers and Giants. The 49ers are 5-3. The New York Giants are 2-6. I do look at who the 49ers have played, obviously. I know they've played the Rams. They have been the Rams. I know they've also played the Texans last week, who they lost to, but they've had the Falcons, they've had the Bucks, they've had the Jaguars, who are doing a lot better than I thought they would. They've also had the Cardinals and the Seahawks. So both teams in their division, they have beaten teams that are in their division. With the Giants, however, blowing up, giving up a big as a lead as they did against the Broncos. I'm pretty sure it was the Broncos, and against the Eagles, beating the Eagles once but losing last week. I have to go with the 49ers on this one, not only because they have the better overall record, but because of the teams that they've played, and they have not given up big leads like the Giants have. Then with Chargers versus Titans, I don't need much to look at. The Titans have only won just one game. The Chargers have won more. I know the Chargers were on a bit of a losing streak, but they redeemed themselves last week on Thursday Night Football against the Vikings. So I look at that obviously as well. Now, Vikings and the Lions are a little bit harder here. So I take a look. The Vikings are 3-4. The Lions are 5-2. We see who the Lions have played. They have played the Packers, who are the Packers are a good team, in my opinion. They've had the Bears, which they have had the Ravens, also was a good team until they lost their quarterback. Browns, Bengals. Bengals are also without quarterback, so not much to go off there. Chiefs and Buccaneers, both two good teams and both teams that they have lost to. So I look at the Lions, then I look at the Vikings, who they've beaten or and played, Bears, which yeah, Falcons, who they lost to. They had the Bengals, which they beat because they were without a quarterback. They've had the Steelers, they've had the Browns, they've had the Eagles, and then they've had the Chargers. So they both of them have had good teams that they have played. Both of them have had games where I think they should have won. So it's really 50-50 S for me. I will say I'm going with the Lions only because the Vikings are now without their backup quarterback and they're just bringing in their starting quarterback, JJ McCarthy, who is under his first full year as a starter. He's in his second year, but last year he was out for an entire year due to injury. This year is his first official starting role, and he's also been out for a few weeks. So I don't know how rusty he'll be coming back from that ankle injury. I don't know how good he'll be, if his mobility will be there. So that gives me that incentive to go with the Lions here. And then we can also just go down the line. Some of these I don't need to look at because these are my bold predictions. So I'm going with the Patriots because they've been on a good run. We're gonna come back to that one. I'm going with the Broncos here, even though the Texans beat the 49ers, but the Broncos also beat the Cowboys. Um, we're going with the Bears. I'm obviously going with the Packers because I know that the Panthers still stink here. Rams, we're going with Jaguars here. And now the Colts have the best overall record in the NFL right now. I know it might be hard to see that, but they are 7-1. They've had the best overall record. But the teams that they have played, let's also take a look at this. They've played the Dolphins, which it's the Dolphins. It's the Dolphins. They've played the Broncos, which I still believe that the Broncos should have won that game if it wasn't for a game-winning field goal. So the Colts did get a little bit lucky, but that's just besides the point. They beat the Titans, which are the worst team. The Rams did beat the Colts for the first time, so good team. Raiders, not really that good. Cardinals, if mid. Chargers, I think are a good team, and then the Titans, which are also not a good team. So they've had one good team that they've played. Actually, I'll give them two. I'll give them the Rams and the Chargers, who I think are good. Cardinals are mid to me. And then the Broncos as well, because it was early on in the season. Maybe I'll give them the Broncos. But with who the Steelers have played, however, oops, I have to go back here. Who this That's not what I wanted. Even the New Orleans Saints are 1-7. So I guess they do have the same record as the Titans, but I think they are a little bit better than the Titans due to how the Titans managed to beat the Cardinals, which is a completely different story. Who the Steelers have played, they've played the Jets, they've played the Seahawks, Patriots, Vikings, Browns, Bengals, and now the Packers. So the Steelers have had a bit of harder games than the Colts have. Nonetheless, I am going with my bold prediction here with the Steelers. So there's how I choose. With Chiefs versus Bills, I think the Chiefs have also gotten lucky in some of the games that they have played. The Bills are a very dominant football team. Also can come back from late quarter deficits and manage. Josh Allen has managed to lead comebacks before. That's my incentive there. The Commanders have been on a losing streak right now. The Seahawks have also been a little bit rusty. So this is a 50-50 one for me. I'm just going with the Seahawks. And then on Monday Night Football with Cardinals and Cowboys, I have hope. I do have hope and hope that the Cowboys will beat the Cardinals due to the fact that the Cardinals managed to find every which way to lose to the Tennessee Titans, who should realistically be winless right now. Even though the Jets have one win as well, so do the Titans, I believe. I do the Jets are better than the Tennessee Titans, and I will ride on that hill with that. Even though it might not look that way or feel that way, I do. The Jets have managed to come close enough in games. The Titans just have not managed to come close enough in games. I'm trying to see. Yeah, see, Titans are 1-7. Look at their teams that they've played. The Broncos. I guess Broncos are good, but still lost. Rams lost. Colts lost. Texans scored 0 points. Beat the Cardinals, which I said that the Cardinals found every which way to lose. Raiders lost. Patriots lost, and Colts lost. So yeah. So there we go. So there's my predictions here, and then I just type in record for what for the week is. We save that. That's done. And then we stop share. And that's literally what my producing role is for both predictions behind the scenes. I do take a look at the schedule, obviously. I take a look at the team's records. That also plays a role in that. I look at the teams that they have played, kind of helps me make a decision. And sometimes I just go full intuition, which you saw with some of those picks, like the Cowboys and Cardinals game with Sunday Night Football between the Chiefs and the Bills. Some of that is just intuition. So I don't really have to look at the records, even though I know what they are. That's just a very bold prediction that I'm going based off of. And some weeks are like that. So, anyways, now that you've seen that part, the next step that I do is I get changed for stuff if I have a simple theme for either a main episode, bold predictions, however that may be, make myself look presentable. And then I set up obviously the recording aspect, which is what my computer right now. I press record, I record kind of what I want to say, go through all my predictions. When I'm finished recording, you finish record, save it to my computer, and then I upload it. Open up YouTube, enter the video there, type in a basic description, come up with the title, obviously. I don't do any editing for bold predictions in most of these videos because I'm using basic recording software. I could do more editing, but I don't have like the Photoshop and the Adobe thing set up on my computer right now. If I do happen to get a new computer someday, maybe I can download those softwares and edit these videos so I don't have as much pauses and things, make it a little bit more production-esque. But I don't have that right now. So I'm just relying on the fact that whatever I say automatically gets left in the video. So I am cautious of what I am saying. I am cautious of what I am talking about. I am cautious of not finding filler words and taking long breaks of pauses because I can't really edit those out. But nonetheless, it's a learning experience for me. And that's what I've been learning what producing entails, just doing it entirely by myself. So there's a look at behind the scenes of a bold predictions. This video is being recorded on a Thursday here with the behind the scenes look. I am filming and uploading a segment of bold predictions on a Thursday as well. Today, very likely, because it is Thursday night football. I am trying to upload these videos either before Thursday night football. Sometimes these get uploaded Friday or Saturday, but just know that I make all these predictions before Thursday night football, so I'm not really cheating. Today is October 30th. Tomorrow, the Friday, is Halloween, so I am doing a creative for a main episode today as well, which is finding some scary short stories on the internet and reading to them, sticking with the Halloween theme. So it's not it's not your normal main episode format, but it is something fun. We have to find something to fit the Halloween theme in the Halloween season. And I thought, what better way to do that than finding some scary short stories and reading them from the internet? And these stories will most likely come from Reddit, which I've already started an outline for. So there's the look at the behind the scenes. I don't know how long this video was, maybe less than 20 minutes if I had to take a guess. Um, bold predictions will the actual segment will most likely be longer than that. Just I'll talk through all those predictions, give my reasonings behind why I chose those teams, and then you'll see the final version from the start of the process to the end process. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy the actual bold prediction segment when it gets uploaded. This will also be uploaded to my channel as a behind the scenes look, but maybe we'll do this again for either a main episode, a coffee talk, a live advice segment, any other segments on my channel that you want to see behind the scenes looks on. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.